but yeah, the idea is that we can just kind of hold some space together, do some crafting together. So I've got my project, yay, and I've got my tea, and I am ready to kind of dive in. And basically, I'm just gonna keep everybody on mute for the beginning, and then that way, once I kind of introduce the topic, I can take you guys off of mute and we can chat a little bit more, and hopefully it won't be too chaotic because I'm not used to Zoom, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. So anyways, thank you to everybody who joined me here. And what I wanted to talk about today is the topic of wearing your heart on your sleeve. So I got actually a really great question. It was kind of one of those questions that challenged you a little bit during the North Star series, and it was about halfway through the series, and it was after I had talked about my belief that kind of wearing your heart on your sleeve can be a really healing thing, and something that I am kind of encouraging everybody to do in that series. So anyways, the question was, does wearing your heart on your sleeve and openly discussing real life challenges and struggles like depression feed into that mind-body addiction that so many of us have? And so anyways, I'm just going to touch quickly on my thoughts on this, and then I'm going to open it up to everybody and say hey to everybody, and I hope you'll touch quickly on thoughts on this, and we can just kind of spend an hour holding space together. And I have a giveaway here too. So at the end, I will be giving away some Ultra Alpaca Light Barocco yarn, and as well as some stitch markers. So thank you for those of you who are coming. What I'm going to do each week is try to make sure I have a giveaway every week. So it is worth coming, and it is worth holding space together and talking about the big topics. I know it's not always easy, but I do think it's really kind of a special thing that I've noticed, like when I get that time with my girlfriends every week where we just really kind of dive into these big topics, my whole week just feels a little bit lighter and a little bit kind of easier. And so that's the idea here, is to just kind of enjoy it and have a little bit of fun together and hopefully lighten our loads a little bit. My thoughts on this question are kind of twofold, and I guess I want to start by defining what wearing your heart on your sleeve means to me. And my thoughts about what wearing your heart on your sleeve is kind of like living authentically, living from a place that is fueled by your soul's passion and your soul's desires versus insecurities and fears and things like that. And so I guess I feel like that's really important to kind of define right off the bat. Because for me, opening up and kind of sharing this inner authentic person has been really healing, and it's been really, it's helped me to define who that person is a little bit more even, I would say. It's helped me to recognize and identify new feelings and new needs that I never was able to recognize and identify before. And so it's been a really cool thing. And I think that so oftentimes we forget that, especially in this culture where we have so much social media and things like that, we forget that the people around us aren't perfect either. And we oftentimes see, you know, the pictures of the perfect family or the perfect outing or the perfect job or all of those things. And we start comparing ourselves and we start to feel bad, but nobody's perfect, and it's okay to be imperfect. And it's okay to show your imperfections. And it just helps us to be more compassionate towards other people when we can have enough self-compassion to ourselves to kind of say, like, look, I'm going through a tough time right now, and that's okay. So I think it's really kind of a healing thing. Now, for those of you who didn't catch the blog post, I want to give you a quick recap. So I talked about wearing your heart on your sleeve and how it can be healing. And then the second part of the question was, could that possibly be feeding into the mind-body addiction? So anyways, the second part is about feeding into that kind of like that mind-body addiction. And what I was talking about that in the blog post is basically there's two pieces to an emotional state. So any emotional state that we are in is created by both our emotions, which is a mind piece, and our feelings, which is a body piece. And our feelings are a reflection of our emotions, essentially. So when we are trying to change an emotional state, and I know we've all done this before where we've said, well, okay, I'm just going to start feeling better today. Like, I'm having a rough day, but I'm just not going to let it get me down. I'm going to feel better. And you just, spend 20 minutes or so feeling great. And then a few minutes later, you're like, oh, wait a second. I'm totally back in those repetitive thoughts. I'm in those ruminating thought patterns, and I didn't even realize it. How did I get there? And that's because our bodies are kind of craving the chemicals that are created by our emotional states. So when we change our emotional state by doing it all in the mind and saying, hey, I'm just not going to be that way anymore, all of our cells start saying, no, we need our juice. Come on. And they send all these like red flag signals right back up to our brain. And our brain is triggered to go right back into our old patterns of thinking, and the same thing that we have always done, our negative thoughts start to come right back out. So it's a really, really, really vicious cycle, and it's hard to break. And so anyways, the question that was proposed to me was just kind of wearing your heart on your sleeve and having this openness and honesty about yourself feed into that mind-body addiction. And I would say that it does not. Now, I would also like to mention that there is a certain level of what my coach calls like inner life energy, vital life energy. That's it, vital life energy. So, and vital life energy is basically, it's something that you feel, like when everything's going right and you just start to feel like, oh, yes, like things are lining up and things are going in line, and you just feel like, yes, like life is kind of like with me, like it's in support of me. It's a good creative world. That's what vital life energy is. And so when someone's been going through a really rough time for an extended period of time, your vital life energy just like drops down because you feel beat up. Like you've been just hammered and it's been hard, and it's a natural thing for that vital life energy to just kind of like really drop down. And when you're feeling that way, when you're feeling so down and kind of in the dumps, your perspective changes. And it's a proven fact that things are you just see things entirely differently. So I guess I want to say that it's a place that you don't want to get stuck in. Like, yes, we want to share our challenges and we want to be open and honest, but we also want to always be working to kind of replenish that vital life energy for ourselves, because without the vital life energy piece of it, we don't kind of have the willpower or the strength to help ourselves change the emotional state that we've been stuck in for so long. So that's why I went so deeply into the self-care bit in the blog posts, because self-care is a great way to help us replenish that vital life energy and to start feeling like things are going our way again. And we can create that for ourselves, which helps create that vital life energy and kind of gets that rolling and kind of changes all of the perspective around. So anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about today. And that's kind of the introduction bit. And like I said, I've got a giveaway going and I've got my project here. So I'm planning on doing some stitching. I don't know if you guys have your projects, but I'm going to go ahead and unmute you and see if I can get some of your thoughts on all of this too. So